Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our inaugural episode of Success at Scale. This webinar is called Creating Value with Customer Success, and we're so happy that you've tuned in. Let's go ahead and just kick things off with some introductions. My name is Abby Quinn, and I am a recent TCU graduate who moved to DC last year. I'm loving the change of scenery and really experiencing 4 distinct seasons. I'm a University Hire Aspire program participant here at Microsoft, and I'm a CSM working in the modern workplace space, so in M365 and Windows 10. I'm focused on communication, collaboration, and problem solving.
Hello, my name is Brady O'Brien. I too am a CSM and am a Aspire program participant. I graduated from Ohio University last May and received my business degree in management information systems. And one of the things I'm excited about most working at Microsoft is the opportunity to help change the way people work.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine McSweeney and I'm a California native and also a recent TCU graduate like Abby. I am a solution specialist for business applications, so I work with Dynamics 365, Power BI, and Power Apps. I was a marketing major in school, so throughout this series you'll probably hear me add my 2 cents about marketing and communications and the importance of both of those. I am ProSci certified and excited to teach you all about the importance of change management. Our contact information will be on the last slide in this presentation, and feel free to contact us with any specific questions and how we might be able to help.
You're probably asking yourself why you're here. The answer is your organization owns Office 365, and as part of a new offering at Microsoft, we are ensuring that all of our customers have support, not just with owning licenses, but actual assistance, tips, and best practices to adopting new technologies. You were selected by one of the members of our account team to enroll in Success at Scale. We've put this series together to identify specific benefits of customer success, change management, and proven methods to digitally transform your organization. Our goal is to give you helpful insight and tools that enable you to drive value and leverage your Microsoft products to do the best that you can with them. Now let's take a closer look at what customer success is and why it's so important today.
So why customer success? There have been a number of industry changes that have really set the stage for customer success. Let me explain. Before customer success, there was no focus on adoption. And before just recently, adoption didn't really matter to tech vendors. Large enterprise agreements were a standard across the industry, leaving consumers with nothing but hope and promise from tech vendors that their solutions would indeed transform the way they work. But times have changed, and subscription and open purchase models are beginning to dominate the industry. The benefit of these new models is that if you're not satisfied with the service, you can simply quit using it and paying for it and try another. There is also very little upfront investment. Under enterprise agreements, customers carry the risk of purchasing a new solution under a multi-year contract. With subscription and open models, the risk is transferred onto the tech vendor. Often tech vendors under the old EA models combat commoditization using price negotiation at the time of renewal. They do this in hopes of re-winning their customers' business and signing them up for yet another multi-year contract. Under these new subscription and open models, you essentially pay for what you use. So if solutions are not being used and helping create value, tech companies don't get paid. So today, tech companies fight commoditization through adoption and consumption of their solutions. Thus, customer success was born. Customer success at Microsoft views our relationship with you all as a cyclical journey. We are aligned with you all throughout your entire customer lifecycle and do this to ensure you receive the full value from the products you purchased. We start with a customer from the purchase of a product. From there, we work to help them deploy and create strategy and processes to help end users adopt. If end users do not adopt the new technology and change the way they work, the organization does not reach its business goals. After end users adopt and business value is realized, there's typically growth within an organization. CSMs are here to support this growth, and as new opportunities arise and additional technologies are purchased, CSMs will be there to help customers deploy and adopt these new solutions. The case for change, what customers are saying. I know what you're probably saying right now, and is that this slide is way too busy. But essentially, these are just the use cases that validate the need for a customer success unit. Let's look at the first one, which talks about helping you all receive the full value from the Microsoft investment you guys have purchased. We are going to do this in many ways, and this is really based upon the needs of your business. For example, a lot of customers, especially within the government, buy our solutions but never deploy them. Step 1 is your there talks about enabling adoption. This is step 2. So step 1 is deploy the solution you purchased. Step 2 is adopting a new and better way of work.
While good technology and strong project management are needed to get a project started, what's going to be the influential piece in reaching success is the people side of change. Here at Microsoft, we are firm believers in ProSci's change management structure. ProSci stands for professional science and is methodology representing a systematic and holistic approach that guides organizations to realize the benefits of their change initiatives. It also aims at building internal capabilities to deal swiftly and efficiently with the ever-increasing number of changes. The methodology is built around two fundamental models, one developed to deal with change at a personal level, and the other developed to deal with change at an organizational level. ProSci focuses on strong executive sponsorship, personal learning paths to change, and maximizing overall ROI. With ProSci's proven change management structure, companies are 6 times more likely to meet objectives, 5 times more likely to stay on schedule, and 2 times more likely to stay on budget. We will have an entire webinar about ProSci's framework in the coming months, so be sure to stay on the lookout for the invite. As I mentioned, ProSci looks at change management from 2 perspectives. The first is organization-wide, and the second is at the individual level. The ProSci foundation for individual change is ADKAR. Some of you may have seen this before, but ADKAR stands for Awareness, Desire, Knowledge, Ability, and Reinforcement, and describes an individual's journey to a successful change outcome. To better explain how ADKAR works, I will use the example of a company's transition to Teams. First and foremost, employees need to be aware that the company is making the change to Teams and why that change has been made. This can be through communication sent from managers, sponsors, or through buzz days. Second, they need to have the desire to make the change. Desire tends to be the hardest step in the change process, but by letting employees know what's in it for them and how they will benefit, it will increase the desire within each employee. Third, they need the knowledge of how to work teams. Do they know where to find files or how to create a meeting? By creating a training plan, you can ensure that all employees know how to use Teams. Fourth is ability. So yes, you taught your employees how to use Teams, but are they able to use it themselves? Ability is where we see the change happen, where employees take their awareness, desire, and knowledge and turn it into action. Last but certainly not least is reinforcement. Continue to remind employees to use Teams and even consider gamification or incentivization if you find that employees are unwilling to switch. As I said before, there is an upcoming webinar that goes much more in depth about ProSci principles, so please stay tuned for that session. While change management is a crucial piece in the overall success of our customers, as CSMs, we do so much more than that. As you can see here, some of the primary activities we conduct with each of our customers is creating a customer success plan, sharing best practices for usage and adoption, creating workshops for everything from business value to governance, and sharing other Microsoft resources that are available. We plan on creating these services for each of you in a scaled manner in order to help you be successful in your respective projects. If your agency is currently working with a partner to execute on customer success or project management tasks, make sure you ask about these as well and make sure they are still being accomplished, regardless of who is owning them. Our goal is to be the voice of the customer from beginning to end, and from today on, you are our customer, so please don't hesitate to reach out with individual questions as well. Achieving success can be a lofty and vague goal, so here are some conversation starters and questions to help identify success criteria and what needs to be accomplished. First and foremost, what is the problem you are trying to solve? After beginning a project, it is so easy to get lost in the details and forget why the project began in the first place. Take a step back and remember the problem we are trying to solve and keep that in mind each step of the way. Second, what does success look like to you? Try and break these down into accomplishable tasks or SMART goals so you can measure your success against these goals. Third, how do different business units define success for workloads? If you are on the IT team, it might be easy to get pigeonholed into IT success, but remember who the end project is for and what success might look like to them. The next question is, have we addressed technology and business challenges for the end users? One of the most crucial steps, as we talked about with ADKAR, is having the knowledge and ability to execute on the new system. If this is a new Dynamics 365 implementation, do your users know how to use the system properly? Were they trained? Without the ability or knowledge to use the system, success simply won't be possible. And finally, how do you define adoption and how can we create an impact today? Each step builds on the next, so remember to keep each goal in mind as you move along the project and find ways to make a difference today. I would encourage each of you to answer these questions for your own organization as you move forward with your implementations. This will serve as a building block for all the successes to come.
These are the success factors at Microsoft that we have identified as key pillars in successful change management. I'm going to give you an example of how we at Microsoft are currently using these pillars. The change we are undergoing is Skype to Teams. It started with an email from Satya Nadella, our CEO. The email went something like this. Hello Microsoft, we are transitioning from Skype to Teams. We are doing this because it will allow us to do all of our collaboration in one place, such as external calls, host meetings, IM, group chat, share documents, etc. At the end of the email, there would be links from IT on training on how to get the most out of Microsoft Teams. All 4 pillars were touched on in this example. The stakeholder is Satya. The scenario or justification he used for the change is that it would allow us to do all of our collaboration in one place. The awareness was the email itself, and the training was available in the links below the email. We will discuss all of these pillars in further detail, and next we will dive into all of the stakeholders we have identified as key for change management. Transforming to a new way of work requires buy-in and support from across the business. Stakeholders can come in various forms. The 3 key stakeholder groups are 1, the executive sponsors, and they act as the face to the change. 2, the success owner, who owns the relationship with the CSM and ensures the strategy put in place for adoption is being executed. And 3, the champions, who evangelize the solution to their peers and are often power users and drive peer-to-peer learning of the solution. Do you know who these stakeholders are in your organization? If not, I challenge you to begin to identify them today. On the next slide, we will talk a bit more about the responsibilities of an executive sponsor. There are 3 key things an executive sponsor needs to do, and they can be found in the ABCs on the right-hand side of the slide. An executive sponsor needs to be A, active and show visible participation in the change. An executive sponsor needs to be B, building a coalition with their executive peers so they are all in step when delivering messaging for the change. And they need to be C, communicating directly with employees so end users can see the change has top-down alignment within the organization. Next, I will delve a bit more into champions. Again, champions will evangelize and help train their teams on the new ways of working. They build awareness, understanding, and engagement throughout the community. They are typically early adopters, power users, and drive peer-to-peer learning. This peer-to-peer learning is very effective. We at Microsoft did a study on the methods used to train end users. You can see on the x-axis, it is the percent of people using this method, and on the y-axis, it talks about the level of effectiveness of this method in training end users. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, you see coworkers, which is essentially peer-to-peer learning, and it's deemed the most used and most effective learning method for end users. Now I'm going to pass it on to Abby to delve a bit more into scenarios.
Defining business scenarios is a powerful technique for deriving an understanding of your significant business needs, which can then be used to determine important requirements and ensure solutions meet those needs. As we dive deeper, we will learn ways to prioritize scenarios to further define your own success criteria. Once you identify your business objectives, use the SMART acronym to create your business goals: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time sensitive. A good idea is to host a workshop within your organization to gain deeper insight into specific challenges and strategies that are working well and ones that are not working within the organization. Take a look at these questions. What are some of the organization's challenges or pain points related to communication and collaboration? What methods of communication and collaboration are typically better received by your organization than others? Use these to get a comprehensive report of what your organization needs and what it doesn't. Next, I'm going to go over some examples of defining your success criteria. I'll specifically be touching on the second one, increasing productivity. It's defined as increased adoption correlates to faster communication and decision making, thus shorter time to complete tasks. So that's what their scenario is defined as. And then there are 2 research methods, one's quantitative and one's qualitative, are process efficiency gains, end user surveys, and Yammer groups. Lastly, the SMART goal is time to complete customer orders drops by 15% within 6 months. As you can see, those numbers are very easily digested and easily reported to management. Now that you've taken a closer look at your business scenarios and generated some SMART goals, use this graph to plot where your goals fit and where you should direct resources, if any. For our ongoing example of deploying or switching to Teams, one would say that it is of medium difficulty with high impact, which would plot our goal under initial successes. It's important to note that the most effective use of your time and energy will go towards goals that fall on the second and third quadrant of this chart, under quick wins and initial success. These change management efforts will ignite awareness and desire while also showcasing progress to your leadership teams. If your goal is of high difficulty and high impact, it is a business transformation. Those are not going to occur overnight, and they will demand a lot of resources and time to accomplish. Don't immediately focus your attention on business transformations. If your goal plots out to the fourth quadrant, it is best to literally avoid that goal in order to focus on quick wins and successes that can get your organization excited. Next, we will go into detail about rolling out awareness through communication and collaboration.
The next success factor I want to elaborate on is awareness. I was recently ProSci certified, and one of the exercises we did in training was by using an example in our own lives in rating each level of ADKAR, awareness, desire, knowledgeability, and reinforcement. Our instructor had us circle the phrase that was below 2 because that is what we call the barrier point. You can't move to the next step of ADKAR until the one before it is completed. So if awareness is the barrier point, then you will never be able to move on to desire or knowledge, etc. It will be the barrier that blocks the project from success. There is no such thing as over-communicating, especially when a project is just starting out. So execute on launch events, create a communications plan, and make sure everyone is on the same page about the changes that are well on their way. This slide represents tips on how to create a successful and much needed communications plan to ensure that there is no employee left behind. By having a leader send out communications regarding the new technologies, it will validate that this project has the support needed to be successful. Make sure the initial communications really emphasize why the change is happening and what's in it for them. Managers especially will want to know why they should encourage their employees to implement, so make sure you're targeting the information for everyone in the agency. Try using a variety of different communication forms to reach employees in all different spaces and times. Email, physical events, website banners, whatever it may take. If needed, set up time for a Q&A where leaders and technology implementers can answer questions about the project. Remember, the goal of the initial campaign is to simply drive awareness of the change and making sure to communicate that changes are coming. While the initial communications will be helpful, remember that you are going to have to encourage ongoing engagement in order to keep the ball rolling. Find out which ways work best to keep your employees engaged long after the initial launch. One of my favorite tactics is gamification, because who doesn't like a little friendly competition? I have a customer who created a point system based on their Dynamics 365 usage and has each team of employees going head to head. The grand prize winner gets an Amazon Echo with other prizes for finalists as well. You would be amazed at what can happen when people know there's going to be a winner at the end of the day. Other options include creating a Yammer page, weekly tips and tricks, or sharing success stories from other organizations.
The fourth success factor after awareness is training. Training end users should take on multiple forms to accommodate different learning styles, geographical barriers, and resource and budget constraints. Again, the most effective training method is peer-to-peer training, but there are also workshops, webinars, conferences, peer events, virtual classrooms, and tests. All of these tools should be considered when trying to figure out the best platform for helping your end users adopt. Now we're going to pass it off to Abby to close us out with some resources and next steps.
Thanks again for tuning in to our initial webinar. As we come to an end, please keep these initial 5 questions top of mind. What is the problem you are trying to solve? Don't get lost in the details and forget your desired business outcomes. The answers that you generate to these questions will serve as a building block for success to come. Other building blocks are training and product familiarity, so we provided these resources to start your adoption journey. Our Point Drive has relevant articles and collateral to assist you in expanding your knowledge after this webinar. There will even be an interview posted on the Point Drive between our Customer Success Unit and the American Red Cross. Make sure to check that out soon. EDX offers tons of applicable courses and certifications that are available for purchase or for free. The Service Adoption Specialist course is one I'm currently taking, and it's a great way to see how tangible change management can really be. And lastly, LinkedIn offers thousands of snackable-sized videos and programs to reinforce your M365 knowledge, also help with organizational usage overall. In the coming days, please take the time to sit with your team and answer our 5 initial questions, which will help you identify stakeholders. You'll find our feedback survey on the Point Drive, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on our content and what you'd like to see more of. But most importantly, please join us live on March 27th for our Change Management Crash Course. Thank you so much for joining.